I had a federal investigator sitting at my kitchen table flipping through a stack of HOA letters and doc photos when he asked, "Mark, where did all this start?" And I pointed out the window at that skinny strip of weathered boards over the water and said, "Right there, the morning my HOA president tried to turn my private dock into her VIP stage and then tried to bury me for saying no." If you have ever had someone hide behind a title to push you around, a boss, a board, a neighbor with a clipboard, you know that slow, sour anger that sits in your chest. And if you have not let me show you how a quiet guy like me got pushed until I stopped being quiet. My name is Mark Ellis. Spent more than 20 years in construction claims, reading the fine print no one else wanted to touch. And when I finally cashed out and moved to Silver Ridge Cove, a lake community outside Milwaukee, I wanted simple things: coffee at sunrise, clean water, neighbors who waved, and one line in my deed that said that little dock at the end of my yard was mine. Private, not shared, not up for debate. First time I met Melissa Grant, she showed up at my door at 6:15 on a Sunday with a clipboard and a stiff blazer tapped once like a cop. And the second I opened up, she said, "Mr. Ellis, your trash cans are visible from the street. This is your first and only warning." No, hello, no welcome. I moved the cans. I remembered the tone. Over the next year, I watched that tone hit everyone nurse with a pink wreath. Violation retired mechanic with his old Chevy. Violation young couple with porch lights. Violation. Every email began with "as your HOA president," like it came with a crown. And anytime someone questioned her, she smiled and said, "These standards protect our values. People who cannot respect that may not be a good fit," which is polite. Speak for, "I can make you miserable." So my plan was simple. Follow every rule document. Everything. Enjoy my dock. Keep my head down. I have been the quiet one my whole life, the guy bosses talk over, and people like Melissa always test the quiet ones first. Then came that July Saturday. Sun barely up light, pouring soft over the lake. I am on my dock, with coffee and a line in the cove, so still I can hear my own thoughts, and I am thinking, this is it. This is what I worked for, when I hear engines roaring through the no-wake zone. 3 jet skis come ripping around the point, music blasting, some guy filming himself, and behind them, a white wake boat full of people yelling like they are entering a festival. Instead of heading to the public slips, they come straight at me. Before I can speak, they are stepping onto my dock, dropping coolers, tying ropes to my cleats like they belong there. One woman shoves her phone out toward the lake, telling her followers about exclusive access at Silver Ridge, while standing on my boards. I tell them as calmly as I can. This dock is private property. Public slips are over there. You need to move. And the lead guy laughs. Relax, man. Melissa said we can use any dock. We're promoting your community. And he nudges my tackle box aside with his shoe. That is the moment something clicks. I slide my phone closer, hit record, and say, "My name is Mark Ellis. This dock is deeded to my lot. I'm asking you to leave." Instead of leaving, they turn it into a show. The influencer swings the camera at me, calls me this angry homeowner. One guy cracks a beer at 6 in the morning and tells me I cannot touch their equipment. Then Melissa arrives. Her boat glides in like she rehearsed it. She steps onto my dock in heels and sunglasses, hugs the influencer, shakes hands with the investors, and finally looks at me. "Mark, what do you think you're doing to my guests?" she snaps. I tell her they're trespassing, that my dock is not HOA property. She leans in just enough so the camera cannot hear and says, "These are partners and investors. I built these relationships, you. Making a scene makes us look hostile. I am the HOA president. I approved this." I tell her again, she has no authority over my dock. That is when she dials her fake power in. She pulls out her phone. Hits speaker. "Officer Dean, hi, it's President Grant at Silver Ridge. I have a resident interfering with authorized guests on our dock." "Yes, Mark Ellis, please send a unit." Then hangs up, no address, no questions. Nothing. Anyone who's heard a real 911 call knows how wrong that sounded. She looks at me, raises her voice. "Police are on their way. Mark, go back inside and let me manage my community." Then drops it low again. If you fight me on this, I can make your life here very complicated. That was it. I started untying ropes. "You have 60 seconds to get off my dock," I said. They cursed. They threatened to sue they filmed, but they backed off because somewhere in there, the word trespassing still means something. Melissa pointed at me like she was handing down judgment. "You will regret this," she said, and took off. By noon, she was already rewriting reality. A community email went out with a clipped video where I looked like the aggressor, no audio of me being calm, no fake cop call, just her talking about protecting guests. People I had never met were replying all about hostility and not fitting our culture. Then a bright notice showed up on my door, $500 fine, for an unauthorized shoreline structure, my shed, with photos clearly taken that morning, the letter conveniently backdated a week. That is not enforcement, that is a message. I am not going to pretend I felt brave right away. Holding that fine, I could see exactly how this goes. They stack it. They tack on fees. They talk liens, and your lake house starts to feel like a trap. A big part of me wanted to just pay it and stay invisible. But then I looked at that dock and realized if I let this slide, I was telling her she owned my property and my reputation, and I have swallowed enough in my life. So I did the thing I do best. I built a case. I pulled my deed, circled the line that said the dock was private, printed the email where Melissa had approved the shed, saved screenshots of the influencer's VIP day hosted by our HOA president, with our logo everywhere, saved her manipulated email, and I made 3 calls. First to Emma, our treasurer, quiet, sharp, the one person on that board I trusted. I sent her the posts. She called back, low voice. "We never approved any VIP event, and I see payments from HOA accounts to a company called Grant Lifestyle Events. That's Melissa's LLC. That is not okay." Second to my neighbor Daniel, a paralegal. I showed him the fake cop call, the edited clip, the backdated fine. He said, "That's retaliation and abuse of authority. Keep every scrap. Do not answer her directly, answer the rules." Third, to Dr. Priya from Lot 3 environmental scientist, who had already seen an oily sheen near my dock. If jet skis were running commercial-style events in this protected cove without permits, whoever allowed it is going to have a problem, she said. So while Melissa thought she had framed me as the loose cannon, what she really had was a treasurer, a legal mind, and a scientist, all staring at the same pattern. The next evening, she called an emergency community forum to address hostile conduct. The clubhouse was full. Melissa stood at the front next to a projector, her influencer friend in the front row. "Thank you for coming," she began that practiced tone. Back on, "We have had disturbing behavior from one resident that threatens our partnerships and property values," then played her edited video where I looked like I woke up yelling. People shifted. Emma raised her hand. "We should see the full recording," she said. Melissa tried to wave it off, but by then the room was looking at me, so I walked up, plugged in my drive-hit play. They heard everything. Me calm, clearly stating it's private property. Melissa claiming power. She does not have the fake Officer Dean call the threat. When it ended, the room went quiet in a different way. Daniel spoke, impersonating law enforcement, altering footage, issuing retaliatory fines. That is not proper enforcement. That Melissa snapped back. This is a smear campaign by a few unhappy people. Those guests were authorized under a board partnership. Emma opened her folder. No, they were not. There is no record of that vote, and HOA money went to your personal company. Priya lifted her report. And the activity you allowed polluted the cove. That has already been reported at the state level. That is when Melissa tried the last card. She pointed at me and said, "Mark has been unstable and confrontational since he moved in, constantly recording twisting facts." And I just felt this calm move in. "What I did was keep receipts," I said. "You used my doc for your deals, faked a cop call, smeared me to my neighbors, fined me for something you approved. I'm not unstable. I'm tired." The board stepped outside for 5 minutes, came back, and announced Melissa was suspended from all HOA roles, effective immediately, that an independent audit would begin, and that all actions against me were on hold. She completely lost her composure, called everyone ungrateful, yelled that without her. "There is no Silver Ridge," and stormed out while half the room filmed. The audit found what we knew: it would self-dealing bogus marketing payments, unapproved events sold as HOA experiences. The state reviewed the contamination. Melissa resigned before the vote to remove her, sold her house, and left town with a lawyer instead of a fan club. My dock stayed mine. My shed stayed standing. My name, which she tried to drag, ended up tied to why things got cleaned up. We changed the rules so no one person holds all the power. Meetings are recorded. Budgets are public. Emma has backup. Priya's reports are taken seriously. Most mornings now look like what I thought I was buying in the first place. Quiet water. Normal neighbors, no one pretending a title turns your property into their stage. People ask if I went too far, turning just HOA drama into audits and reports and consequences, and I tell them it was never just about a dock. It was about someone using fear and fake authority to control an entire neighborhood, because everybody was too tired or too polite to fight. So I am curious what you think. Where is the line between protecting standards and straight-up bullying with a clipboard? If you were on that dock with a deed in your hand and an HOA president calling fake cops on you, would you have walked away or hit record? Do you think I was justified or over the line? And what have you seen in your own neighborhood? Tell your story in the comments. Argue with me if you need to, because a lot of people dealing with their own. Melissa need to know they are not crazy for wanting to push back.